Hi, I'm Larry Hentz, Director of Commercial Services for the Prince George's County Economic Development Corporation. I'm also the host for Business Spotlight. Today, we're going to meet with J.D. Clark Professional Services and their owner, Tisa. Come on, let's go learn something. Trish, thanks for inviting me here to this open construction zone that you have going on here. So if it's all right, are we comfortable with taking off our masks?
Absolutely. The windows are open, the doors are open. We have full air circulation coming through.
Fair enough.
So we're good.
So it is good to see you.
Likewise. It's been a while.
Yes. So educate everyone, please. Tell us the history of you in the construction business.
Well, it started 14 years ago. I was at Freddie Mac, and being an executive in corporate America, particularly with Freddie Mac, I had saw a lot of the products being given to homeowners that should not have been. So subprime and seeing that we were about to face something that we had never faced in housing, which was that whole bottom falling out of real estate in 2008. And my youngest son in particular, why it was so important was he was just recently diagnosed with a genetic disorder, very rare disorder. Only 20 children in the world have it. And once we found out, life became very different for me because it became more around purpose. It became more around legacy.
Yes.
And so I reduced the material weakness, went into my senior vice president's office and resigned, all in the same breath. And
Wow.
J.D. Clark Professional Services began.
Wow.
My first year, I had to wait for non-competes and non-disclosures to expire because I did kind of know what was going to be happening as far as the foreclosures and things. And so when those had expired, I jumped straight into understanding what happens boots on the ground. So I knew what happened 50,000 foot, looking at pools of loans and things of that nature, what happens in default, what happens during a workout, but I didn't know what happened in the actual property. So I suited up, booted up, and I went on every job. So we became a subcontractor for one of the national preservation companies so I could understand what happens.
Okay.
And so I did a little bit of everything. I did grass cuts, I did trash outs.
You learned the business.
I learned the business. There was no other way to do it by immersion. Just jump right on in.
Wow.
And because program and project management is what I do, I just had to learn my resources, learn my schedule, and learn the money.
So, all right. So here's what I'm so glad we can do this today, because what I really want to know are two more questions that are really important to me personally, and I believe to the audience too. What is your biggest advantage as a woman-owned construction business?
So I think the biggest advantage that I bring to the table is the fact that I use local. Every project from the very beginning.
You source it local.
I source it local. So even in this project here, the carpenters are local. The electrician is local. The plumber is local. The material is purchased local. I try to use, no matter where my project is, who's in the community that's available, what's in the community that's available,
Right.
so that they can have a sense of ownership of what's happening in their community.
So it's a true community project.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
But I got to ask, this is the one I really want to know. What is your biggest disadvantage as a woman-owned business? What have you found?
So I would say being a woman in a male-dominated industry is being taken serious. That would be the biggest obstacle.
Really?
Yes, because there are still times when I show up to
Wait a
pre-bid.
minute. I heard that. You said there are still times.
There's still times.
Okay, come
There's
on.
still times. So I could show up to a pre-bid or show up to a table and they don't know who JD is. They're looking for JD. And so it's funny to me because I'm like, you're looking for who? Like, where's JD coming? And I'm like, oh, JD's here. Yeah, JD's here.
Wow.
And so they try to second guess me. They try to throw me trick questions. They try to question my intelligence. But see, I've touched 4,000 properties in 13 years.
Wow.
So it's not too much I have not seen in regards. I've taken courses to understand how to read blueprints, how to do takeoffs. I estimate every job personally. I visit every job personally.
Every job?
Every job. So all those 4,000 properties, I personally stepped my own foot on. So I know when I'm looking at studs around the building, are they 16 on center? I'm looking and I understand where my junction boxes should be. I can look at a panel and see that there's a problem. So I can look at the plumbing and say, oh, this is the gas line. Why is it running this way when it should be running that way?
Yes.
So I'm not a master by any means in those specialty trades, but you touch 4,000 properties, you get to know a little something.
Hopefully.
Just a little something.
So what I'm hearing though is from you that your biggest obstacle or hurdle has been still to this day in 2021, you sometimes are swimming upstream.
Absolutely.
Against the current.
Absolutely.
Really?
So what I find myself doing is taking courses, meeting with some counterparts that welcome me to the table to learn all that I can learn so I can be better, badder, than the rest of them. So you got to come strong to play with me.
What has been your biggest project so far? I'm curious about that. If you've done 4,000 projects, I can make the assumption that you have to have some level of success. And how many years again?
It's been 13 years.
13 years.
Yes. So I would say it would be a combination, I think. Most of the affordable housing projects like the one that we're in now, these are substantial because we're actually doing a full gut and a full build back.
Going down to the studs.
Going down. We went down to the block. So this went down.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
Yeah, we went down to the block.
Yes.
And then all of the studs you see here are all new. These are all new studs you see here.
Wow.
But I would say the biggest one was when we partnered with the county. We partnered with Housing Initiative Partnership, and we did a facade improvement in Palmer Park, Kentland. So we did 50 houses, owner occupied, and low to moderate income is how they qualified. The county funded the project. It was truly a team effort for that project, and we flipped 50 houses. And so one particular street, we had touched 16 houses on that one street. On one street. So 15 of them had facade improvements, and one of them was just like this, where it was a full gut and build back.
Wow.
And so that was so rewarding because it was partnering with the county, partnering not just with, at that time it was the TNI. So the TNI had funded the program, and but we had the police department, we had fire and safety, we had public works, because it was true. We had neighborhood design center. It was truly a community. Even Habitat got involved because we started noticing some of these houses had not been touched in 50 plus years. And our scope was so small, we brought in other nonprofit partners to help.
Show me around, please.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right. Based on what we've been talking about, I'm going to make the assumption that you do way more than just that.
Absolutely, we do.
What else do you do?
So J.D. Clark Professional Services provides construction services, which is what we're doing here.
Yes.
Primarily to the affordable housing industry, the financial industry, as well as hospitality. So we do commercial, industrial, and residential.
Okay.
So that's the construction side.
All right.
In addition to that construction, we provide maintenance. So actually for this particular client, we maintain their properties that are going through construction. So we take care of the grass. Our maintenance side also does snow removal for the county. So our trucks that we use for landscaping, we use those same trucks for snow removal. We're Prince George's County contractor.
Again, that makes sense from a business model because in construction,
have
you're not
trucks.
capable, just certain times of the year, you have the ability to do less work than
Absolutely.
others. So you have to pivot. per se.
Absolutely. So we have that maintenance division, and we also hold the clean lots contract here in the county.
Clean lots.
So when your neighbor's house goes awry and their grass gets tall or becomes an unsafe place, and they provide notice for you to address, and the owner doesn't, we're one of the contractors that in turn will come help bring it back to compliance.
Well, thank you
on
for
behalf
that.
of the county. So we hold that. So that's on our maintenance side.
All right.
But then we also do consulting.
Consulting.
Yes, and so our consulting is around anything construction related,
Okay.
which would include construction management, where we're not necessarily the GC. If you have a project you need us to oversee, if you need us to provide insight in regards to you developing your project.
Yes.
So anything along those lines.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed yourself as much as I did here with J.D. Clark Professional Services. Tisa was inspiring. The concept of how we as community can work together, even in business, and therefore improve the environment for all of us. I want you guys to continue to follow us on social media, PGC EDC, while we keep the business spotlight on.